IELTS Listening. Section 4. You will hear a lecturer giving a lecture about the recent survey. First, you have sometimes to look at questions 31 to 40. Now we shall begin. You should answer the question as you listen, because you will not hear the recording a second time. Listen carefully and answer the questions.
Over the past several years, urban centers have been expanding at a rapid pace, with millions of people moving into cities in search of better opportunities. This migration has led to an explosion in the growth of urban populations, which, according to studies, has almost doubled in some regions. As the numbers of people in cities increase, the infrastructure, such as roads, housing, and healthcare, becomes increasingly strained. This phenomenon is also leading to changes in the environment as urban areas consume more energy and resources. While cities become hubs of economic activity, they also face rising challenges related to pollution, waste management, and sustainability. Scientists have long emphasized how pollination is vital for maintaining the balance of nature. Without this, the reproduction of plants would be severely limited, resulting in a decline of plant diversity. Pollinators like bees and butterflies are essential not only for wild plants but for the crops that feed us. As agricultural practices continue to expand, the importance of preserving these tiny creatures grows. Unfortunately, human activity has led to a significant reduction in pollinator populations, primarily due to pesticide use and the loss of natural habitats, which has put entire ecosystems at risk. One of the leading causes of global warming is the increase in greenhouse gases, especially carbon dioxide. This gas, which is released from the burning of fossil fuels like coal and oil, traps heat in the Earth's atmosphere. For decades, industries worldwide have been heavily reliant on these energy sources, releasing enormous amounts of this gas into the air. This accumulation of gases is the primary driver of the greenhouse effect, contributing to the warming of the planet. As a result, we're witnessing more extreme weather patterns, including longer droughts and intense storms. Many environmental studies have shown that the greatest contributor to global warming is not natural processes, but the activities of humans. Human activity, particularly the deforestation of large areas and the burning of fossil fuels, has led to an unprecedented increase in carbon emissions. This shift in the natural balance is leading to melting ice caps, rising sea levels, and the gradual warming of oceans and atmospheres, which exacerbates extreme weather events. The trend shows no signs of slowing unless we make drastic changes to our behavior and policies in the coming decades. As global temperatures rise and polar ice caps continue to melt, scientists have predicted that coastal regions will face severe threats. Low-lying areas are especially vulnerable to the rise in sea levels caused by global warming. In places like the Pacific Islands, parts of Southeast Asia, and low-lying coastal cities, the encroachment of saltwater could displace millions. This phenomenon is expected to worsen in the coming years, creating a new wave of climate refugees, who will be forced to leave their homes and seek refuge in less affected areas. Conservationists are focusing more on the preservation of certain natural habitats that provide essential services to the planet. Wetlands, which act as natural filters, protecting us from floods and improving water quality, are among the most critical ecosystems being threatened. These areas not only support a variety of wildlife, but also absorb large amounts of carbon dioxide. Efforts to protect these areas are gaining momentum as we realize their importance in combating both climate change and biodiversity loss. The destruction of these areas, particularly for agriculture and urban development, is a growing concern for environmentalists. Experts warn that climate change will lead to a dramatic increase in the number of climate refugees, people who are displaced by the effects of global warming, including rising sea levels, droughts, and extreme weather events. As natural resources such as freshwater become scarce, people living in affected areas will have no choice but to migrate. This shift will create new challenges for both the refugees and the countries that receive them. Nations will need to work together to address this new form of displacement, ensuring that those forced to leave their homes can rebuild their lives safely. Amid growing concerns over the environmental impact of conventional farming, there's a noticeable shift towards organic farming methods. These practices avoid synthetic pesticides and fertilizers, opting instead for natural alternatives that promote soil health and biodiversity. This farming is seen as an eco-friendly solution to some of the agricultural sector's most pressing problems, including soil degradation and water pollution. As demand for organic produce grows, more farmers are adopting these sustainable practices, paving the way for a more environmentally conscious approach to food production. One of the most ambitious goals set in international climate agreements is the reduction of global carbon emissions. In the latest accord, countries have agreed to cut emissions by 40% by the year 2040. This target represents a crucial step in mitigating the effects of climate change, but achieving it will require a drastic transformation in the way industries operate, particularly in energy production and transportation. The shift to renewable energy sources, increased energy efficiency, and technological innovation will be essential in reaching this global target. Governments across the globe are now allocating substantial financial resources to harness solar energy, recognizing its potential to provide clean and renewable electricity, and they are also investing heavily in wind power, which offers a sustainable solution for reducing reliance on fossil fuels. These are becoming increasingly cost-effective, making them a viable alternative to fossil fuels. These energy sources are not only environmentally friendly, but also offer long-term economic benefits by reducing dependence on imported energy and creating jobs in the renewable energy sector. As the technology advances, the shift towards clean energy is becoming more attainable, and governments are playing a key role in driving this transition.
That is the end of Section 4. You now have half a minute to check your answers. Please make sure you have transferred all your answers to the answer sheet correctly. The listening test is now over. You may now proceed to the reading section.